why does it matter if I'm an American citizen or I have working papers? Why do I care if illegal, if undocumented workers can't get the same standards? What's the, why should it matter to me?
Because it lowers everybody's standards.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the reality we live in here every day.
And if they can do it to an undocumented worker, it's going to come to a workplace near you soon. That's a guarantee. I missed you, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, our union's working to organize the private prisons.
Yes, you're AFCHE, right?
No,
Oh.
NEFI, IAM, or
Okay.
machinist. But yeah, I mean, we're not for private prisons.
Yeah.
But if you're going to have so many, you might as well organize the workers and do what you can from the other angle.
Well, and what I've heard is the conditions for the workers in the private jails and detention centers are really horrific.
Absolutely right.
So, yeah. So, the good news is, we're not in this alone. This is a global problem, and there are global solutions. People in Bangladesh have been in the streets for 2 years after those horrific industrial accidents, the fire and the building collapse, and, killed hundreds and hundreds of people. In England, they're in the streets because they're cutting up their pensions and breaking up their social safety net. This is happening around the world, so, we actually have a lot of things in common with unions and citizens around the world. We know that the way forward is to build power. That we cannot do it individually, but if we come together collectively, we can push back against a system that's been robbing us of the future that we know we should have. And power is organized people, because we know a better world is possible. So I want to show you a quick video. We've talked about what's wrong with the policies that put us here. We've talked about how we can build power. And then at the next section, we're going to help everybody develop their own conversation. But I want you to take a look at a video. It's a really wonderful video of a lot of people coming together to make changes, and see if you recognize any of the campaigns in it. Should we turn the lights on?
No, you got the ceiling lamps.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have health insurance because it was too expensive. I'm living with a friend, and I can't afford to pay her rent. I can't even afford to pay half her rent.
When I got out of the service, it was tough to find a job. Working for a glass shop was terrible. It was to be, if you can, the pack talk all back, almost non-existent.
Stand by for a moment.
Yeah, man.
You worked in the dance, so.
We'll try it one more time.
I don't have health insurance because it was too expensive. I'm living with a friend, and I can't afford to pay her rent. I can't even afford to pay half her rent.
When I got out of the service, it was tough to find a job. Working for a glass shop was terrible. It was to be, if you can, the pack talk all back, almost non-existent.
Was Dan been riding around with that in his pocket for a week, or what?
I don't think it's going to work.
I'm terribly
It's
sorry.
probably a Wi-Fi issue.
But it's not on the internet.
It's
It's
embedded.
downloaded. Direct.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't think we can be able to show it to you. It's a really great.
We tested it a lot.
Yeah, we tested it before and it worked. I guess it got tired. But
Do you want one?
there are videos
Just tell
here
me
of community groups, of people speaking out against Walmart, of voter registration. There's a lot of examples of how people can come together and have power against their establishment. So I'm sorry we can't show it to you, but it's a great video.
We were in there.
Who was in it?
Pat.
Oh, yes.
And so was the Rodman from DC. I'm not sure if Local 5 were in here.
I think Moral Mondays from North Carolina were there. There've been a lot of the Walmart people especially were very involved in all of this.
Can you have everybody shut the Wi-Fi off on their phones and you might get that up properly?
Because it's not on Wi-Fi. We have downloaded it
It's
to
on
the
the
computer.
computer.
I'm not,
Yeah.
We haven't run it through the HDMI. I'm not.
Isn't there a larger film coming out?
If you
With this
want,
stuff
I
too?
could try to send it to
I don't know.
everybody.
Yeah.
I could send it to all, just if you've signed in, I'll just email it to you.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
really great.
But I got a question.
Sure.
And I'll go to what my brother said over here earlier about, it seems like sometimes I think, we can't get people out for elections. We can't get people out. I mean, we look at healthcare, and even with some improvements, there's people going broke every day trying to pay for health care. There's so many issues, defined benefit plans being taken away. We can't get them out for stuff that really matters. But, I kind of kid sometimes. It's like if you turn off Facebook or you close Starbucks, they'd be out in the streets like Russ says with the pitchforks and everything, So how do you make that leap where, where they can really care about something?
Did I pay you to ask that question?
No, but it's important to me because I talk about this at home all the
I
time.
almost pay for the.
And they're tired of hearing me, so I come here. But it's
Yeah.
important.
It is hard, and it's difficult. I mean, we started out this conversation with, the group exercises, the identity exercise. And in some rooms when we do that, people are surprised that other people are feeling the pain they're feeling. Because everything, and again, this is the agenda of the ultra-rich. We've been divided into little slices of culture. So I'm supposed to dislike everybody else. I'm not supposed to point to Mr. Moneybags for the reason things are bad. Things are bad because of immigrants. Things are bad because of women. Things are bad because of people of color. Things are bad because of those yahoos who live behind me on the hill. Things are bad because of unions. Things are bad because of Democrats. But it's never bad because of the people who are putting the policies in place.
Yep.
What we need to do, and part of what this training really is about, is to enable all of us to be able to go back and talk to our coworkers, our families, the people who disagree with us and say, listen, on a person-to-person basis, this is what I see. Let's have a conversation about that. You'll notice we did not once say Republican or Democrat in this training because that's not the point. That's not the point. I don't care who you, well, I do care who you vote for, but I'm not gonna name the names of the parties because often it's hard to tell them apart. What we really care about are the policies that we support. And we have to stop talking about things that don't matter, like Republican and Democrat, and talk about what matters to American citizens. Why don't we have paid maternity leave? Why are people attacking Social Security? Why is it hard to have a full-time job? Why is it hard to vote in this country? Why is it hard for people of color to get a job? And why the hell is it hard for immigrants to be able to become American citizens? Now, those are the questions we have to ask, and let's stop talking about their agenda. Let's start talking about ours, and I think that's a lot of it. Pardon me for getting
No,
excited.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you on it.
One of the things, I run around the country to local union meetings, and I'm an elevator constructor by trade. We have a huge market share. We're in probably 85 percentile. So we're one of the dominant in our trades. So we run around, a lot of our folks have issues with all kinds of stuff politically. And one of the things I tell our folks is, we're looking for a model to follow. Labor is whatever. The lesbian gay community came together and did it all over the nation. To watch that process to come
Pretty
to
amazing.
fruition. If we as labor can follow that process to where people figure out, yes, you are being exploited. The unions were the ones that stick our neck out constantly for all workers. That community came together. It was absolutely incredible. And I use that in meetings, and, we're a pretty conservative group. Their eyes go,
Yeah.
and I go, so until we get that, we're going to die. We're going to go away. Unions are going to go away.
We have to focus on what pulls us together, and this room is a great example of it. We have lots of things that people could use to divide us. On each row, they could divide every one of us. We need to think about what makes us a community.
Just to piggyback on the brother here, right now, we're faced with the me generation. When we were growing up, it was a we generation. We knew who our neighbors were. We knew if they were out of work, we'd help them out. Right now, and it's taught in school. In colleges. I know when I went to school, we're going to have negotiations. Who wants to be on the union side? There were like 2 of us. Who wants to be on management side? There were 30 on this side. And they look at Donald Trump, and what's being taught. Labor's taken out of the curriculum in school. You talk about H.C. Frick or Carnegie. That's all they talk about, but they don't talk about Gompers and John L. Lewis and all the other great laborers. And also what's happening is, like you said, they're dividing this country. You got the corporate welfare. All these states are competing with everyone. Down in Alabama, they put up over $250 million in order to attract a factory down there, but yet this education, their budget for this year, it's over $200 million in the hole. But yet they're giving all these corporate welfare, but it's on the backs of the people, and that's what we need to do, go out there and talk to these people, the residents, and saying, hey, you got Remington Firearms going down to Alabama. Well, you know where they're getting all this money? Off the backs of you all, and the services is supposed to be provided to the people of that state are being hurt by this. And it's just the pitting of the have and the have-nots.
So that's why we're here, because the